Check, 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 check. Okay, let's see if this is working. I have tried turning it off and back on again. Still horrible. There's a 5-second delay. Let me see if it's coming. Check, 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 check. Okay. All right, we figured it out. I know. Okay, I'm good now. There's going to be a 5-second delay, and that's where we're having the issue. It looks like there was an audio issue with the desktop, but it looks like it is fixed now. We are going to start all over. Take 3. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nerd Attempts to Save the World. I'm James.
And I'm Brian.
And this is not Clutter Ducks Week in Review, which is where we first were on TV together, YouTube.
Yeah.
You can actually see those on YouTube right now if you want to. Anyways, welcome to the show. We're going to get started with talking about Valentine's Day, which is what we were on when all of this errors. Yeah, I know, Matt. I do call myself a nerd. I like to think that I am tech savvy. I'm not.
There's different kinds of nerds.
There are different kinds of nerds. Thank you very much. So for Valentine's Day, my wife and I actually had the privilege, and we were blessed to be able to give each other Valentine's Day gifts. I got her. It was okay. It was something good.
It's
But
decent.
then she got me this. So I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Okay? And this. She got me this. It's amazing. I love it. Okay? It's something that I've wanted for a little while. She is a steampunk artist. And so with this, I can wear this when she's making these steampunk costumes. So I'm very excited. Can't talk about it enough. It's amazing. But that's enough about the sappy stuff. All right. Yeah, I love it. It's great. Okay, so on to what we're going to talk about on the show. We're going to start off with what's on my t-shirt, Stranger Things. They're coming out with the second season, and it's coming out on Halloween.
Yeah, it's a good date to release the second season.
Okay.
Just given the context of the show and whatnot.
The context of the show, I mean, it is a show that'll make you jump. If you haven't watched the first season, you really should go live stream it on Netflix. You'll binge watch it. They have a great cast. They have a great throwback to the 80s. Very reminiscent of like Stand By Me, Goonies, all those 80s movies that just had this great adventure theme to them. They brought it into now, set in the 80s. You got an up-and-coming star in 11. I don't remember what the actress's name is.
I don't either. I know, I'm pretty sure she's like another British actress. They're just, coming over and just, just taking over our airways, man. First Walking Dead and now this. But,
Walking Dead, yeah.
It's
Game
good.
of Thrones.
Can't complain, though. Can't complain at all, though.
Exactly. You really cannot complain because she's an amazing actress. She almost didn't take the part, if you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she almost did not take the part because she had to shave her head, and she thought that might ruin her for future projects.
Right.
And then she kind of just took off. I don't know if you've seen it, but Jimmy Fallon actually had the 4 kids on his show. And she actually raps Nicki Minaj. And it's pretty impressive. I'm very impressed
really
by that actress.
Yeah.
I thought that everyone did a great job. It was lightning in a bottle. I mean, it won all these awards. And season 2 is coming out. So what I wanted to pose to you, Brian, and give me your thoughts on this, okay, is I think... And everyone out there, you can agree with me or disagree with me. I think it would be a very logical choice for season 2 to begin, and 11 is not in the first 4 or 5 episodes. And they're building to when she's going to come back. Because obviously they had a little... if you haven't watched the first season, you might want to turn it off. I'm going to say some spoilers. Okay, at the end of the season,
At the end of season 1, it's very unclear... what 11's fate actually is.
Correct.
So,
but there's Legos. Or Egos. Egos. They're Eggo waffles, not Legos.
Yeah.
Eggo waffles. Jackie, you're going to disagree with me no matter what I say on camera. All right, but
Yeah.
there were Eggo waffles put into a place in the woods, and the world is still around. The dark world, because the kid that got lost starts to have recurring episodes where the slug creatures that might turn into the Demogorgon, however they did, they left a lot of mystery at the end of the season.
For sure.
But my question to you is, do you think that they're going to succumb to fan pressure, have 11 very early on in the season, or do you think that they might do a slow build because they're thinking past season 2 and to season 3 and season 4, and there's a slow build to when does 11 come back? Because I don't think they can do a whole season without her.
I think what they might end up doing is like something like in between.
Okay.
Just to like satisfy the people that, appreciate a long build, and also satisfy the people that want to see her come back like right away.
Yeah.
So I think it'll probably be like 2, maybe 3 episodes, because like remember, are they doing 8 episodes again for season 2?
They really haven't said. There was a sneak preview that was done where they showed the titles of season 2, and if I remember correctly, there was more than 8. I want to say there were 13.
Okay.
But for the people that are really catching or paying attention, you can correct me in the comments, and I'll take a look, I promise. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be 13 episodes.
Okay. Well, in that regard, I think if we go like 3 or 4 episodes without seeing 11, I think it would be fine.
Okay.
But like to go back to the first season, one of the things I loved about the first season is the fact that there isn't really a single ounce of fat on the show. Like every single scene that is there, it needs to be there to tell the whole story. Because like if you cut any scene out of it, like you just lose a major part of the story. And like I said, that's one of the things I loved about the show, because I think if they tried to make this season longer, I think we would have ended up with a lot of filler scenes that kind of like didn't really drive the story further. They just would have been there to make the episodes longer and make more episodes.
Okay, very true. I do remember every scene had a pivotal moment in it,
Yes.
which I really, really enjoyed. I love the lights on the wall. Yeah. That was
pretty cool.
That was really cool.
Like, Winona Ryder was insanely awesome in this too.
Yeah, Winona Ryder.
I had no idea she was still acting.
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw the thing from the award ceremony.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the thing from the award ceremony, there's one where she's getting pizza thrown at her. It's hilarious. But Winona Ryder has been a great actress for a long time. Yeah. She plays a very crazy mother in the 80s in this, and she does a fantastic job.
I think she's crazy, just like, given the context of what's going on in the show.
She's manic, because no one can explain to her what's really going on. So when I use the term crazy, I mean, she is going manic and doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And she's doing what any good mother would do in that situation, but she's manic.
Right.
So that's, basically where Stranger Things is going to go. I mean, if you watched the trailer that was done during the Super Bowl, which obviously they wanted to have as many eyes on it, they're doing a lot of throwbacks to the 80s in Season 2.
Yeah.
All the kids are dressed up like Ghostbusters, which I thought was really, really cool. I think this is going to be one of the most highly anticipated seasons coming up, and I can tell you right now, I have no doubt in my mind, even if we go out for Halloween, which is basically Christmas in my house, we are going to be back, and we're going to probably binge watch season 2. I'm guessing we will have the entire season watched in 3, no more than 4 days.
Yeah. I'll probably have it watched in about that same time frame too.
Exactly. It's just one of the great things about the era we live in with Netflix is they can end on a cliffhanger and you just click and you can watch the next one.
Yeah.
As opposed to like in the 80s where you had to wait a week or sometimes a year.
Yeah.
So everyone's excited for season 2. By the way, tomorrow is a good friend of mine, Monica's birthday. Monica, happy early birthday, live on Nerd Attempts to Save the World. You are a very special and important person.
Happy birthday indeed.
Okay. So, anyways, what we're going to go to now is normally I leave the advice portion of the show to the end, but in talking with Brian, I think we have a lot more to talk about in our final segment. So in this segment, we're going to talk about if you're going to be interviewing for a job or you're going out for a job, we wanted to give you some pointers, some quick knowledge, some things to keep in the back of your head if you're going out for a new job. More often than not, you have a lot of people that will go and they will go for their dream job right off the bat.
Right.
You know, and it's something that I applaud people for. But normally, most people's dream jobs are jobs where they want a lot of experience, they want a lot of degrees behind your name, or they want both. And what ends up happening with those dream jobs is if you are trying to get your dream job right off the bat, like you're just out of school, you're fresh out of high school, and you're like, I want to go work for Cosmopolitan, or I want to go work for Wizards of the Coast out in California, or I want to go to Japan, I want to work for Nintendo. I'm just giving you, or Seattle. You can go to Seattle to do that.
Yeah.
Or Google, or Facebook, like these very big time dream jobs. You know, people on those kind of jobs have to start very early. You have to start basically when you're a freshman in high school now and get amazing grades, go to the best alumni colleges, and know people to get you into those positions. But I'm not saying you can't have those jobs, but you do need to get started somewhere. So one thing I want to point out to people that are going to be going out for jobs or going to job interviews is if you are just going into the job market right now, don't be afraid to apply for jobs basically anywhere. Any kind of experience with getting a job or just with the interview process is going to be amazing for you. Just because you interview for that job does not mean you have to take that job.
Right.
But interviewing for that job could give you more insight into getting a better interview and having a better presence for it, because practice does make perfect. So you want to try to get as many job interviews as you can and practice. And if they offer you the job and it wasn't the job that you wanted in the first place, you can always turn them down. And you understand now that maybe that's how I need to go forward. But I would not recommend applying for your dream job without having some job interviews under your belt. Okay.
Right.
So next thing I want to talk about is you do get the job interview. Now, with that job interview, one of the main things I want to exude to everyone is you really want to have a lot of confidence. When you walk into that room, you want to be happy, you want to be bubbly, you want to be good. You don't have to be someone other than yourself, but you want to make sure that you are the best version of yourself. And that does mean being confident. So you want to go walk into that room like there is no reason they should not give me the job by the end of this interview. One of the things is I have a brother named Chris. Now my brother Chris has gone on hundreds of interviews. And one thing he's always told me, and it's worked for him many, many times, is at the end of the interview, he always asks, when can I start? That's confidence. That's ego. And he says that it's turned interviews around because he's already basically stated, when can I start? Now, is there anything you wanted to add at this point about interviewing for a job?
So, I haven't been on very many interviews, but
okay.
I have nailed the interviews that I have been on. Even the ones that I thought I bombed. Like, I worked for TCG Player in Syracuse for almost 2 years.
Great company, love them. Awesome. Yeah,
great people running that company. Definitely, if you have an opportunity to apply and work there, definitely do it. It's an awesome experience. Everybody that works there is an amazing human being. A lot of my best friends that I've made, I made there. But even like I said, even when I thought I had bombed my first interview there, I was surprised the next day when they emailed me saying they wanted me to come back for a second interview. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I had some very unique answers to some of their questions. And one thing I loved about the interview process with TCG Player when I was initially interviewing is they had 3 or 4 people in a room as a committee, basically all interviewing you at once, asking you different kinds of very questions that you wouldn't necessarily expect from a regular job interview.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to give away any company secrets because I like keeping that kind of stuff a surprise for people if you're going to apply. But yeah, I think one of the things that they liked was I had some like unique perspectives, and I was able to like make jokes and try to keep it light.
Yes.
And like one of the greatest tips that I got from one of my old supervisors there was to basically treat it like a conversation that you would have with a friend. Obviously, like keep it polite and formal, of course, but still, you want to, you know, like I said, just keep it light.
Don't have a mouth like a trucker.
Yeah.
Okay, when I'm not on camera and it's just me and my wife and we're sitting in the living room and we're having a conversation, or if I'm having a conversation with people at a coffee shop, I do have a tendency to have a trucker mouth every now and then. Don't recommend doing that. But I would recommend that, you know, you definitely treat them like a human being. You want to come across in that interview like you would be a fun person to work with and you're capable and knowledgeable. That doesn't mean that you need to know everything right off the bat, but you have to at least project that if you don't know it, you're going to be able to learn it, or you're going to be able to pick it up quickly. They
Absolutely.
love people like that. They, you know, empty shells that they can fill with the company message, the method of how they're going to do the work, and if they think that they can mold you into the employee that they need, they're going to be willing to work with you. One last thing I want to say about job interviews is always, always, always dress to impress. Okay? I do not mind if you're applying for a job where this is the uniform.
Yeah.
I don't mind that at all. But I will tell you, the people that stand out in interviews, because I've had to hire and fire many people in my career, are the people that actually do dress to impress. If you're a guy, you should have that one interview suit with a nice shirt and a nice tie. You're well-groomed, you're well-spoken. You're going to be more heard if you do that than the guy who shows up in a shirt and tie that he borrowed from dad, that's got a stain underneath the tie that's starting to bleed through a little bit. Or you're coming in a t-shirt and jeans because all your friends work there and they've told you you can work in t-shirt and jeans. Okay?
So, I have a funny story.
Go, please.
For my second interview with TCG Player, I did wear like just like a nice shirt and jeans, you know, like nice jeans.
Yeah.
But it was like in the wintertime, so like I also wore a hoodie just as like my sweater, my outer layer, whatever. And I never took off my hoodie during the interview at any point. And looking back on it, it's like I'm just like blown away that they even like would even talk to me, because I just like completely blanked on that fact.
You Kevin Smith to your interview.
Yeah. Basically, I guess I must have had on some really nice pants that day.
They remembered the pants.
Yeah, they remember the pants, and maybe my personality. Who knows?
You have a good personality, so they picked up on that. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely dress to impress. Now, the last thing I'm going to say, because I just remembered there was one other thing I wanted to mention, and then you can, we'll move on to what the big discussion is going to be, and it's probably going to cause the most discussion in our forum. Okay, is you want to have some knowledge about where you applied. Okay, so you're searching classifieds, Craigslist, Monster, SyracuseHelpWanted.com, any one of those, and you see a job and it says, all right, well, your starting salary is this, these are the requirements. And you go, okay, that's the salary I want to make, and I meet their requirements, and you're going to put your application in. They decide to give you an interview. At that point, you should really know a lot about that company. You should be doing research and figuring it out. Perfect example is I got headhunted by a company that was giving me this amazing spiel about selling health insurance. And I love the sound of what they were talking about. It was basically in my skill set. And the guy who was recruiting me gave me a very good sense that the job was going to be exactly what I was looking for. I called my wife and said, hey, I got an interview for this. I think I'm going to take it. I was working at another job at the time. And she said, okay, Within 5 minutes, she called me back and she says, I've done some preliminary research and you're not interviewing for this company. I came home that day, I looked at her research, I did some of my own research, and come to find out this was a factory that really wanted to just spew out. I'm turning down my phone volume right now.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, hold on one second. I'm going to get back to that, but we are really having some sound issues. Okay.
The joys of live podcasts.
The joys of live podcasting. So, they were just basically churning people out left and right, where they were bringing them in, trying to get them to sell, like the knife cutleries when you're in college. And, you were getting paid X amount. And if you put in 100 hours a week for, 2 years, you might start seeing the salary that they were talking about.
Right.
I thought it was going to be phone sales, which is something that I seem to be really good at, but it wasn't. And so after I did the research on that company, I politely declined. And then they tried calling me 3 times and realized that I wasn't going to pick up. So that's all we're going to really say about job interviewing.
But to touch on that point as a final point, and this will transition into our Magic the Gathering discussion, is with TCG Player, when you go to apply with them, all their information about like the company and their core values and everything, that's all very transparent on the website. So, they make it very easy for you to find that information. So like if you're, not sure, you're hesitant about applying, all the information is there as far as like the core values, the kind of people that they're looking for. Because my experience and what I've found in my own interview and in seeing the people that they brought in both before and after me is they're primarily looking for good people, just good human beings. Like, they can mold you into a good worker, but as long as you're a good person, you're solid, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a spot if you fit in the culture and you fit in with the people there. So like, it really isn't necessary to know anything about Magic, but it helps, but you really don't have to know anything about Magic.
Yeah. One other thing that just got said in the comment field, Matt, you're absolutely correct. When you're in a job interview, turn off your phone. So thank you for that tip. So transitioning, you worked for TCG Player. Mm-hmm. In my store, I actually made the decision to sell Magic cards before I shut down the store. Magic the Gathering is something that I started playing about 3 years ago because one of my wife's cousin's husband, who's now a good friend of mine, his name's Brian, had a weekly game. And he said, why don't you come and try it out? So I had been doing a board game night every Sunday for many, many years. And I said, all right, well, it's time to try something new. Went to his house, started playing Magic, fell in love with the game fairly quickly, and I really do enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge of it. I enjoy how many different decks you can build, how many different win conditions you can make.
Yeah, there's countless kinds of strategies you can employ to try to win a game. It's so much fun. It allows for a lot of like creativity.
Yes.
So like if you like puzzles, like there's decks where like you can put together a turn 1 win if you put the right cards together within that turn, and it's just nuts. It's just insane the kind of stuff that you're able to do.
Yes. Right now my format of choice is EDH Commander. I'm splashing in a little bit of Tiny Leaders in there. I have played Standard before. I've never really made a modern deck. I've never made a legacy deck. That might just be funding.
Yeah. There's budget modern decks that you can build, and
there's budget.
They're fun.
They're budget modern decks. I enjoy the game. I enjoy making new decks. I enjoy playing. I mean, before we even went on the podcast, we played a quick game of Commander where I was trying out a new deck, which I'm very happy with how it came out.
It was a super close game too.
It came down to the final turn. I thought I was going to swing out to kill him. He ended up getting me to draw 1 card with my 1 life and cause 1 damage or 5 damage or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. Yeah. I still lost.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Aether Vial just came out.
Aether Revolt.
Aether Revolt. Aether Vial is a card.
Aether Vial is a card.
Aether Vial is a card. Aether Revolt.
I think Aether Vial is a masterpiece card, a special promo foil card you can get in Kaladesh, which is a set that came out right before Aether Revolt.
Yes, I just want an Aether Vial.
Clearly, that's become quite evident.
So anyways, Aether Revolt just came out. I'm really enjoying. I just made an artifact deck because there's been a lot of artifacts between Kaladesh and Aether, and I'm having a lot of fun.
It's definitely a very heavy theme.
It's a very heavy theme. Yes. But what we really wanted to touch on, impress upon the Magic community, and as well as other people, and this is not just specific to Magic the Gathering. This is something that I'm seeing with other nerd communities, collectible communities, just board game communities. It tends to happen. So I'm in my mid-30s. You're not that far behind me.
I'm 27.
You're not that far behind me. All right, I'm in my mid-30s. And there's a story I'm going to tell you about, and that'll probably lead us to what we're going to talk about. I used to go every Wednesday to this group that played Commander at a local store. So you would set up, you'd play against 3 other players with Commander, you'd get points scored because it was a league, and then after the games would end, you'd play a second game. And if you had time, you play heads up in between the games. It was a lot of fun. Did some trading, bought some cards, learned how to improve my decks. I enjoyed it. What stuck out to me, though, was there was this one day where we had 2 young kids show up to play Commander. Now, they did not make decks. They bought preset decks that you can buy at basically any retail store that carries Magic the Gathering, and they wanted to play Commander, and they understood the basic rules of the game, but they weren't really doing that well with the game. So I was in a game where we're all playing around. My deck had created a board state that was unable to get rid of, and it was causing troublesome to other players.
Yeah.
The young kid that was playing with us, he couldn't have been more than 13 or 14 years old, was playing a blue control deck. So I wasn't able to put the finishing blow on him, but he wasn't doing anything to me. He was just basically playing a few cards here or there, getting his counter spells ready, so I couldn't really attack him. So I had taken out the 2 other players. I had finally gotten my board state to a point where on my next turn, I was going to be able to take him out.
Right.
He had 3 life. I was going to be able to hit him for 15. So he's looking, and you can tell he's stressed because he wants to win the game, and he really wants to see. And I said, well, all right. I said, on my next turn, unless you kill me on this turn, you're going to be done. So why don't you lay your cards out? Let's take a look at this. Let's see if there's a way that you can end me. And if that doesn't work, then, good game.
Right.
And so we looked at his cards, we did, and the best he could do was get me down to about 3 life, which wouldn't have done it. So I said, well, unfortunately, I don't see a way for you to win the game. So he says, oh, okay, and he shook my hand and he said, good game. I had 2 local players, that play there every week, come up to me and said, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why did you talk to this person and try to intentionally lose the game? And I said, guys, I play for fun.
Yeah.
I play to see what my decks can do, to have enjoyment. That's why I play EDH Commander. I don't play Modern because Modern is extremely competitive. I don't play Legacy because Legacy is extremely competitive. I play Commander because Commander, it's amazing how you can use the same deck over and over and over again and have hundreds of different games because you have 99 different cards on top of your Commander in this deck. So it just really threw me off. I was trading with another guy cards, and one of the things that he said to me is that the average age of the Magic the Gathering player is going up.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an issue, and that's where this conversation is leading to, and I'm going to let you check in. You're so polite. You never interrupt me.
Yeah, I mean,
you gotta interrupt me. So
I don't know.
okay.
My pet peeves is I hate being interrupted, so like I don't do something to someone else.
Okay,
I do unto others as I would want others to do unto me.
Okay,
That's
well
how my mother
you're
raised me.
you're allowed to like go, James, I got this. All right, it's okay. But anyways, I was training with this guy, and the average age of Magic the Gathering players is going up. What does that mean? It means that we're getting lesser and lesser new players coming out to leagues, coming out to play, coming out to enjoy it. And one of the reasons I see this happening is because of a word that I'm probably going to use overabundance is salty. And it's not just Magic. You know, we have salty players. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are in Modern and you are going for top 8 and you're trying to get qualified for regionals, that's not where new players should be. But if you're playing at a local shop on a weekly league where you pay $5 a month and you possibly are going to win 3 or 4 packs at the end of it, you know, that's where you really want to promote new players. You want to see someone, if you see someone new, you want to take them in and say, hey, come over here, join the club. Because one of the biggest complaints I also hear about Magic is there's not enough people on certain nights.
Yeah, so to expound on that, I just want to give a little bit of my background, and then I'll jump back into this. I've been playing Magic for a little over 20 years now. My dad and my brothers taught me how to play, and when a new set would come out, Wizards of the Coast used to do 60-card pre-constructed decks, like a deck that you could go and play standard with at the time, whatever the current standard was. And my dad would buy all the pre-constructed decks, and then we would sit down and play with them, and it was a lot of fun. So like that's kind of like where I cut my teeth learning how to play the game.
Yeah.
So like people's experiences with Magic will differ based on who teaches them and how they were taught, and basically how they experienced the game the first time. So like my experience was generally positive, learning how to play with my dad and my brothers, because it was like a casual thing. It was just a thing that we did to like bond as a family. And so like I never really like was aware that there was like a pro tour and there was like world championships and like people did this for a living. I was never that never even crossed my mind that was possible. So what's interesting to me is like with EDH Commander, that is a commander that was created by the community to be like a casual format to just sit around and just have fun and just goof off and just play the game.
Play high mana cards that you normally can't play.
Yeah, just play the game for the sake of playing the game and just try to do like cool stuff. And it's just interesting to me that there are these players that treat it as like the super competitive thing. Now, like, don't get me wrong, I'm just like naturally a competitive person. That's just kind of, for better or worse, that's just part of my nature. It's just kind of ingrained in me. But at the same time, like, I've done a lot of work to learn how to like curtail that and like turn it off when I need to turn it off. And like, like EDH is definitely like one of those realms where like you want to turn off that gene or whatever you want to call it, because like you said, like we want. So it's one of those things where like EDH Commander, it's a great way to teach new people like how to play the game and how to like analyze like board states and like analyze their hand and go through what are called like decision trees, and like basically it's like, all right, well, if I play this card now I can do this, but if I wait I can do this and that, and so like EDH is great for that because you have it's a singleton format, so like you have so many different cards to work with, so like it's great for teaching.
Yes.
So like, but basically my point is like anybody that's like not willing to teach a new player, it's like, all right, well, instead of playing it this way, you could play it that way, and you could have done like 20 more damage or something like that. Like to like not be willing to like help a new player improve. If you're somebody that's been playing for a long time, it's just like it doesn't benefit you and it doesn't benefit the community not to help that person.
Yeah. I mean, basically, when you're out and you're competing, I understand that. I understand trying to qualify. I understand people wanting to win. I understand it. You can still win and be a graceful winner. You can lose and be a graceful loser. That's not what I'm really talking about. I mean, a good example is if someone is brave enough to go into one of the Facebook communities or Twitter communities locally, brand new to the game, and they post something, and you can tell that they're not posting because they're looking for negative attention, but they're posting because they think they know something about the game, and maybe they're wrong, and maybe you need to educate them, or maybe they're right, but it's something that you've acknowledged. What I'm basically saying is if someone's willing to put themselves out there and become a part of the community, they should be welcomed with the most open arms whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Case in point, I have a friend, his wife Jackie is one of our regular viewers. He brought me into disc golf, which I love. You play disc golf, yep. I play disc golf. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I haven't been out that much. But when I went disc golfing, there's a CNY Disc Golfing Association. And I thought, well, this would be kind of fun. I can go play with the CNY disc golfers, learn more about the game, learn more about technique, because there is a lot of technique into throwing a disc and getting it into the basket. Still don't have a hole-in-one. I'm hoping I get one sometime soon.
I've had a couple in my life.
But what happened was, I was a brand new player. He brought me to the Disc Golf Association. Now, one of the things about the Disc Golf Association with the league is they put a new player, which is basically grade D, with an A or a B player. Mm-hmm. The player they put me with is someone who absolutely just wants to play the game, and he doesn't want to teach people new things. He just wants to go out and enjoy it. He is more than entitled to do so.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, because I was put with him, I've never gone back. And one of the reasons I've never gone back is I did not feel welcome. I did not feel excited. I felt like I was an obtrusion and a hindrance because I was not as good as they were at the game. Now, I didn't slow them up, but he would be looking at me and going, why are you throwing that disc? That is a stupid disc to throw. You need to throw this disc. And I'd throw that disc because I didn't have the right technique. Basically, it went 15 different ways that I didn't expect it to go, and I didn't score well on that hole.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, he didn't even shake my hand. He just walked off. He was very salty.
Yeah.
And it really just left a sour taste in my mouth. And it's the same thing. I've played Magic with a few people. And when I've played Magic with a few people, if their entire focus is just on making their deck work and take out the entire table, what ends up happening is you have, let's say there's 5 players playing. Mm-hmm. You have 4 players that got 3 turns. They were starting to build a board state, and this guy swings everything at everyone at that turn. However they might do it, they make you mill all your cards or something along those lines. Those people are going to be like, well, I really didn't get to play my cards. That wasn't fun for me.
Right.
And I understand that. Now, if you're playing Modern and you're playing Heads Up, you're intended to do that. Yeah. You're supposed to do that.
So that's the interesting thing with Magic is you get out of it what you put into it, and fun is a very subjective term for people. There are decks in Modern that I absolutely hate playing against, especially when I'm playing a deck that is very, very disadvantaged against that deck. But at the same time, I understand, Magic has variance, especially in a format like Modern where there's an abundance of really, really good decks that you could be playing. So, you're not always going to be prepared for everything that's out there. So, if you just happen to run into a bad matchup and, even if you think the deck that your opponent is playing is just absolute trash and, you don't like the fact that you lost to them, just still be, a gracious loser to the person.
Yes.
Because that is a human being across from you, and it's just it just blows my mind that people tend to lose sight of that. That's just another person just trying to find enjoyment in this game.
You have something in common with that person.
Yes, and instead of just trying to put them down, just be like, oh man, it stinks that I lost, but it's a bad matchup, and if I had drawn the right cards, whatever, just don't turn the conversation into. Basically, trying to put them down for, oh, you're playing a stupid deck, if you were playing any other deck, I would beat you. And it's just all right, well, that's the nature of this format. That's the nature of this game. Is just stuff happens, so. Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it.
Right.
So a couple things, and then we'll wrap up the show. If you are a Magic player and you want to see Magic do well, not just in the community but worldwide, I mean, it is a growing format. Or I mean, it's a growing game.
Yeah.
There's new formats coming out every single week for people to really expand on this game that just has been around for a very long time, and they have new cards coming out almost every 3 months.
They've had sales growth, every year for the last 5 years, something
Yep,
like that.
every year for the last 5 years. But we want to make sure that we get younger players. Younger players are the future of everything. So if we can get younger players to play, that would be great. And one of the things that I would suggest is there's a very large Nintendo contingency collectors that we're starting to get very salty in a group. And you were seeing a lot of people posting about this thing is not cool, this thing's not cool, oh, you overpaid for this, you should not have bought it for that price because you stiffed that guy. Just a lot of back and forth and theory and things that really are the minutia that you don't really need to focus on with these games. You know, like Nintendo, Mario, Zelda, woo! It's fun.
Yeah.
That's what you have to remember. What ended up happening is, and I'm going to give a shout out to someone who I've become friends with. His name is Jamie Herman. He lives in Chicago. We have never met, but I consider him a great human being. What he ended up doing in the Nintendo collection group was he started these giveaways. And at first it was just like, oh, he's giving away his entire collection. He would give away like a Mario package. He would give away a Legend of Zelda package. He would give away a Metroid package. He would give away all these things. And what ended up happening is it transformed the group. Everyone was talking about it, commenting about why they like this. They were all talking about how great Jamie is. Then that was transplanting. All of a sudden people go, wow, I want some of that. They started giving Jamie stuff to do more giveaways with.
Right.
And it transformed this group into something that was really positive. Now, what can we do about that? Well, you know, you have some Magic cards lying around. You just say, hey, if you're a new Magic player, I got 100 commons and uncommons. Come build a deck, or you know, bring the cards that you are just sitting in your basement or somewhere that you never are going to use for a deck because they're not Stoneforge Mystics right. or Forces of Wills. They're, you know, common cards from 2 sets ago that you just don't even use. You know, find a kid and be like, here, take these.
So, like, one of the best formats that doesn't get nearly enough love is
Pauper.
Yeah,
Pauper.
Pauper's great, because the rules of Pauper are you only play with cards that were printed at common. So, like, it's very easy to, you know, spend $50, build a super competitive deck, and, like, go play and win, you know, if you know, if that's your goal. If you just, you know, if you want to win, you know, you can do it very cheaply.
Yeah.
And it's also like a great way to, like, you know, teach new players how to play the game, and you can also just, you know, all right, you like that deck, keep it. You know, it's.
And if you're a part of a league and you see someone new that week, take them under your wing, teach them the game, and you'll be surprised at how much better this community can be and how much bigger it can get. And so that's my hope. That's my wish. That's Brian's hope and wish. You know, I play Magic all the time. If you're a friend of mine and you've wanted to play, just understand I'm a big Commander guy. All you have to do is reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to teach you the game if you'd want to learn it. But with that...
I also play... Commander, I play pretty much, you know, every format if it's fun.
Yeah.
So, like, I've been big into Modern lately. I've been in the Standard at various times. I don't really like where the format's been for the last 6 months, so I haven't really touched Standard in a while. But yeah, if you, like, want my opinions on, like, decks or, like, cool decks that you can build on a budget, you know, you can find me on Facebook. Just search for Brian Downey, and yeah, I'll be happy to show you a few things, show you a couple decks.
If you like Reptar, you'll find them.
Yeah. So, like, there's great resources out there for like, you know, building budget decks too. Like, mtggoldfish.com is amazing. One of the guys that posts content there, every week he's posting like a different budget deck that you can build for like under $100. So, the information is out there. And there are people out there that are willing to help you out if you're looking for it.
All right. Well, with that, we are going to bid you adieu. I apologize for the technical difficulties that we had at the beginning of the program.
We got there.
We got there. Next week, we are going to have Nathan Grant. He's another really good friend of mine. I met him through my video game store. He's also on YouTube. He's doing the quest for a full PlayStation 1 collection. He's a lot of enthusiasm. We've worked together on many projects. He's actually the one that created the logo for Nerd Attempts to Save the World. We're going to be talking about a couple different things. We're going to talk about collecting PlayStation games and how that is. We're going to talk about a controversial thing. Well, it shouldn't be that controversial, but it is, about resellers, reselling collections, nerds, video games, comic books. How do we feel about resellers? The term resellers. We're going to get into that, and then we're also going to talk about social marketing branding when it comes to imagery, when it comes to sound, when it comes to marketing yourself on social media, and things you can do to make that better for you. So that's next week. We'll be back here, episode 5. Brian, thank you very much for being on the show this week.
Thanks for having me. Just like the good old days.
Just like the good old days. If you do want to laugh, like I said last week, just go to YouTube, search Clutter Ducks. This will be on YouTube once I figure out how to edit the sound problems from the from the first 10 minutes of it.
If you need help with editing, just give me a shout.
Excellent.
Give me a shout.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Go have some fun with your friends. Learn how to play Magic. Good night.
See ya.